This episode is brought to you by HASA. Liquid is clearly better. Liquid chlorine is the highest purity, works immediately, has no added cyanuric acid or calcium, and it will leave your pool safe, clean, and clear. And by the Bottom Feeder professional grade battery powered vacuum system. It sucks to clean pools, so cleaning pools sucks less. Get $100 off with code DVB100.
This episode is brought to you by Skimmer, the #1 pool service software in North America. With Skimmer, you can streamline your schedule, grow your revenue, and keep your customers coming back with 5-star service. Whether you're a one-person operation or an established team, Skimmer is your partner in success. Visit getskimmer.com/poolguy to try Skimmer for free for 30 days.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'll be talking to you about the Ultimate Pool Tools new Titan aluminum pole, and also touch on other aluminum poles by other manufacturers as well, as I compare and contrast this pole with poles that are already on the market. So if you're in the market for an aluminum pool pole, I think you'll find a lot of great insight in this podcast. Join my coaching program and take your pool service to the next level. Connect with other pool pros in your area, gain valuable knowledge, and transform your business with personalized one-on-one advice from me. With over 36 years of experience, I'm here to help you succeed like never before. Learn more at poolguycoaching.com. And with the emergence of carbon fiber poles in the industry in the last 10 years or so, there are now 3 major manufacturers of carbon fiber poles. You have the Primate Pool Tools that makes their Primate pole. You have the Skimmer Carbon Light pole, which has been out for maybe 2 years now. And then you have the Ultimate Pool Tools, the Hyper pole, which has been out, I think, for about 5 or 6 years. So the Primate Pool Tools and their pole was the first on the market. And of course, this is America, and so people are going to come out with products that are similar. There's probably no way one single company can supply the poles for the whole country. It's just one of those things, and it's not feasible to manufacture enough product. So of course there's room for competitors. I don't think it's something that people like when there's a competitor with the same or similar product, but the market is big and they all offer a little bit something different. But the focus won't be on carbon fiber today, and I'll probably do a podcast where I cover the 3 carbon fiber poles and I break them down for you and compare and contrast them. But today I want to talk about aluminum poles because I have the new Titan pole from Ultimate Pool Tools, and Primate Pool Tools is also coming out with a aluminum pole. And I say, why not? If they make a great carbon fiber pole, the technology is there already in their warehouse for the clamps and for the grip and for the stainless steel tips. It's a great idea for these carbon fiber companies to make an aluminum pole. Just like Skimmer is purely an aluminum pole company that made a carbon fiber pole. So why not cross over and create competition in the industry, which creates better products? I think this is one key thing about competition that is a positive, is that it creates good products or better products or more innovation in the products to keep up with your competitors or be better than your competitors. And so we're getting finer and finer products because of the competition out there in the carbon fiber market. And when they cross over into the aluminum pole market, Skimmer and the Smart Company will have to up their game. So let me talk a little bit about the Titan pole and how it compares with other aluminum poles on the market. The first thing you'll notice with the Titan pole, and if you watch the video, you're going to see that this pole does look a lot more refined than the aluminum poles out there. Let's start with the tip. Well, let me start with the size of this pole. So it's a 3x17 tri-pole. I love tri-poles. They're my go-to poles, and I prefer those over the 2-piece poles. This is made out of 6063 aluminum. I'm not sure what that is. I didn't research it, but it looks strong with a blue coating. So it looks like those cheap blue poles that a lot of homeowners have and a lot of people get for $20. And this may actually prevent some theft out there because it doesn't look very expensive, although when you grab it, it feels high quality. And it is extremely high quality. It has a kind of a new grip that they created forward on the end of it. And the grip, of course, is important, and it's something that you're holding all the time. Not necessarily grabbing it all the time from the grip, but it is one of those things at the top where you're holding the pole most of the time with at least one hand. And it has the right angle pinch clamps, they're speed clamps, they call them, that are horizontal, and you open them to extend the tube and retract the tubes and lock it in place. So these are solid clamps. They lock the pole sections really well in place, and you can adjust it with a little knob for the adjustment on there. So let me go to the tip of the pole. On the tip is a titanium tool end. In my testing, it was a little bit tight on there, and hopefully it'll just loosen up a little bit over time as it goes on more devices. I may spray some silicone lube in there also to help out. It was a little bit tight on the riptide, and it was a little bit tight on the leaf rake, but they fit in there. It's one of those things where I think because it's manufactured to fit on things tight, it's going to be a little bit tight, but hopefully that's not a problem. I'll do some further testing with it. And behind that titanium tip, which by the way will probably last forever, is their hyper drain, is their patented drain. So the water drains out of the pole rapidly. It also fills with water rapidly. So it's one of those things where it's an invention or an idea that they're transferring from the carbon fiber pole to their aluminum pole. So I would say overall the Titan pole is heavier than a lot of the aluminum poles out there because of the build quality. It's not as light as the Skimlight Dually, the same size Skimlight pole, and it's not as heavy as the Skimlight Brute. That's a pretty heavy pole. Somewhere in between there is the weight of this pole. So it's a heavy duty pole for sure, and it's something that you would want to use, of course, for wind cleanup, for your vacuum systems. Would it be my everyday skimming pole? I still like carbon fiber poles, and I really think having two different poles on your truck is ideal. Carbon fiber poles are much better, in my opinion, for brushing and skimming, and these poles, the aluminum poles, are much better for vacuum systems, heavy leaf debris on the bottom. But it's really your preference if you like aluminum poles over carbon fiber, and you can get used to the weight pretty easily. It's really well balanced, so the weight is really not an issue in my opinion, but it is heavier than a lot of aluminum poles out there. How does it compare to the Skimlight Dually? Well, I think as far as the Dually goes, it's kind of a go-to pole for a lot of guys because of the cam locks. Now the cam locks do have some drawbacks. You can lock and unlock them in two different directions, and sometimes you'll actually jam them because you forget that you unlocked it right, and then you try to lock it right, or I should say you lock it right to the right side and you try to unlock it to the right side, and then you jam it up. But you can just get a pair of channel locks and unjam it. It's not a problem. The nice thing about the way you can open up the Dually is you just kind of release the cams and it spins open, and you can extend the pole section and drop it down rapidly without a lot of concentration because you just kind of turn the cam lock and then it extends out. The cam locks do wear out, but they do sell a replacement part. Now the tool end, after looking at the Titan and looking at the Dually, I think the end where you connect your vacuum and your brush and your leaf rake, it does wear out, and it does look kind of flimsy compared to the Titan for sure. How long does the Skimlight pole last on the tool end? I think you can get a good 2 years out of it before it starts to crack, and then you can just cut the tip off and drill new holes if you wanted to keep that pole. But after 2 years, it's definitely worn out. It just depends on how you treat it. But yes, that tool end of the Skimlight will wear out, and you have to either drill new holes or replace the pole at that point. Whereas I don't think the Titan is going to wear out. As far as the speed, the Dually, if you're just extending and retracting it all day long, it's pretty fast. With the Titan, since they're horizontal clips, and I'm more used to the vertical ones from the Primate pole, I can't deny that. The vertical ones I've gotten really good at. The horizontal ones are a little bit, I wouldn't say they slow you down, but you have to kind of concentrate a little bit on where that clamp is. You can open it and close it, and you'll get better at it, of course, and faster at it. So it's not a real big difference or a big deal in my opinion. And I really like the fact that you can adjust them so you can slow down and speed up how fast and how slow the tubes retract in there. And I think it's very comparable to the Skimlight as far as speed, so you don't lose much there. How does it compare to the Smart Company Power Pole? Well, I'm still waiting for their tripod. They talked about it before when they were at the pool shows. I haven't been at the shows in a while, but they just have their two-piece, their 8x16 power pole. It's a very popular pole out there. I like it. I like the snap lock that they have on there, and the snap lock makes for easy extension and retraction of this pole. It's not quite as heavy as the Titan because it's only a two-piece pole, but if they ever did make a three-piece pole, it'd probably be pretty heavy, and that's probably why they haven't made one yet, or it could be something with the tubing, I'm not sure, but they only have a two-piece pole, so it doesn't compare directly with the power pole because you're comparing a tri-pole that extends from, I should have mentioned this, but when it's fully collapsed, the Titan is 6 feet 8 inches, and it extends to 17 feet. So it's about similar to the power pole in length, but you have two pieces versus three. As far as build quality, I think the Titan is built stronger than the power pole for sure. And again, the mechanism to extend the tubing is different. The Titan has these clamps you open up. The power pole has the snap buttons. And by the way, Skimmer also has one with the snap buttons on there as well. And I think that, this is much more comparable to the Skimmer Dually series than to the power pole. But those are also pretty good aluminum poles. The power pole is a Stingray product made by the Smart Company, and it's really a really good pole. I have it here on the site here. So they do make some cam locking poles as well, but I think the dually pole cam lock is better. Everyone tries to kind of cover the market by making something their competitor makes. It's kind of the way it is out there. But their power pole, the PPLV8, is their go-to pole. It is loud in the morning, so just be aware of that. If you have pools that are close to the house or there's dogs back there, the dogs especially don't like that snapping noise, the click, 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 click of the power pole. It's kind of weird, but it kind of freaks them out. The Titan pole, of course, is going to be more expensive. Let me see what the retail price of the power pole is right now. It's about retail is about 120, so your supplier will be a little bit less than that. Usually they'll come in a little bit lower than the internet pricing on that. And the Skimlight poles are right about that price as well, for my memory, for retail. And the Titan retails right now currently I think is $185. So it's, what is that, 30% or 40%? I guess 30% more than the other two aluminum poles. But you do get a lot for your money, that's for sure. The build quality. If you watch the video that I did on the Titan pole, you'll see that the build quality is excellent. I mean, it just feels just like one of their carbon fiber poles that they manufacture. I also like that it comes with the pole guard already on the pole itself, so that you don't have to put one on there. And I think that's essential because you're going to rub the aluminum on the side of the pool, on the coping edge, and it's a great way to protect it from getting scratched and scraped. I like aluminum poles. I started in the industry with the Skimmer Dually. I used the larger tri-pole. It was the three-piece pole that went to 21 feet. Then I switched over to the smaller one, the tri-pole that went to 17 feet. I found the other one a little bit too bulky. And I guess if you're comparing the weight of the 21-foot Skimmer Dually is probably the same weight as a 17-foot Titan. So it's not something that's unmanageable out there. And there are other aluminum pole companies that try to make a pole that's very durable. I just find that if you look at the Titan, it just has a different look to it. And I think the Primate Pool Tools pole is going to be very similar to the Titan as far as build quality, because they make high quality poles for sure. What are the advantages of an aluminum pole over a carbon fiber pole? Well, there's a few advantages. I think the main advantage would be the price point. For the entry-level carbon fiber pole, you're paying over $300 for that pole. That may not be in everyone's budget to have a carbon fiber pole at that price. Now, $185 for an aluminum pole is expensive compared to like something around $100 where you would get the Skimmer Dually and the power pole. That's probably the price range you're looking at. I think the aluminum poles last a very long time, the high quality ones that I'm talking about here. So they're made for everyday professional use with the vacuum systems with heavy debris on the bottom. I've never had a Skimmer pole snap on me, and nor have I had a power pole break on me, although the mechanism, the clamp, the locking mechanism does break on occasion, but the pole itself they're made strong. So you can rest assured that the aluminum pole is not going to break or snap on you. And I think that's a good thing for a professional when you're using a pole, that you're going to, have that durability and that longevity for the price you pay. I mean, you can rebuild the Skimblade pole for years with the cams, with the white little parts that go into the cams. They do wear out over time. I've noticed that. I think I had a Skimblade pole that was about 4 years old, and they did change the cams, and it still wasn't locking properly. So there is a point where you have to replace that pole. I look for something that's going to last for years. In my opinion, why would I want to buy a new pole every year or every 2 years? I want something that's going to last 3 or 4 years to be economical. I mean, if you spend $100 on a pole in the last 4 years, that's a pretty good investment. And I think if you buy the Titan and that lasts you 4 or 5 years, that's a great investment at $185. So I kind of look for longevity when I invest in the pole. And I'm not, cheap or anything like that, but why would I want to be replacing my tools all the time when I don't need to? I still have the same pair of channel locks that I've had for the last 15 years, and I think I paid $30 for them. Now I think they're like around $50 for that. So it's something that's economical, and most pool pros don't want to replace their tools all the time. It doesn't make any sense. So you want to buy something that's going to last. Another advantage of the aluminum pole, and I think this is a pretty good advantage, is that if something happens to it, it's not a huge loss. I mean, if you lost your ultimate pool tools, hyper pole, or your primate pole, you're out $350. That's a big loss. But if you lose a $90 aluminum pole, that's not a big deal. Now, can you afford losing a $185 pole? I guess it's going to hurt more. So I think you have to consider the cost of the tools you're getting, and how much of an investment that is. And you may lose poles. I mean, I've only lost 2 of them over all the years I've been servicing pools. One I left at a stop. Don't know how that happened. I left my leaf rake and my pole, and I'm not even sure where I left it. Like, it wasn't on my truck. It may have fallen out probably, or I think I left it on the street when I was loading my truck, and I went back and it was gone. Someone took it. Obviously, it's on the street. Someone's going to take it in Los Angeles, right? And then I lost a primate pole. It fell out of the back of my truck, which was a huge emotional loss for me because I was really attached to that pole. It was the first carbon fiber pole that I had, but hey, it's gone, and that happens. So the investment is a factor, and the price point is a factor, of course. But aluminum poles, one of the great advantages, again, is they hold up over time, and they're great. Not to say carbon fiber poles don't. They do hold up over time as well. You're investing in something that you're holding 90% of the time out there in your hands with everything you're using. So you want to buy the best aluminum pole you can get, or the best carbon fiber pole you can get. And I think there's plenty of that on the market today, and the competition has spurred better and better aluminum poles now, as well as carbon fiber poles on the market. If you're looking for other podcasts, you can find those on my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. On the banner, click on the podcast icon. That'll take you to a drop-down menu of other podcasts I have there for you. And if you're interested in the coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.